إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أدى الأمانة وبلغ الرسالة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين. وبعد، فيقول الله عز وجل في تنزيل الحكيم من بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم مذكرا للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات بذكره سبحانه وتعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Or you will believe, fear Allah, and the best way to fear Him and die in the state of being Muslim. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. الحمد لله على نعمه ما ظهر منها وما بطن. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا. رب السماوات والأرض رب العرش العظيم أنعم علينا بدين الإسلام وأنعم علينا بمحمد القرشي العربي ابن عبد الله عليه صلوات الله والسلام. اللهم صل على المصطفى. Blessed are we to have this faith of Islam. Blessed are we to be proud to say we have a messenger that is the seal of the prophets, Khatimul Anbiya wa Rusul. Blessed are we that we have a religion that has laws within it, laws that regulate our life, not only the spiritual life, but also the physical life, the society life, the family life. This brings me to the topic of today, and I visited a federal building. I don't know if you have noticed this. Every federal building that you will see in any city in the United States looks like a mass. It's very massive, it's huge, it's impressive. The doors are big. The thickness of the glass is huge. There is marble everywhere. And there is security guards if you enter the court or whatever it is. And I questioned myself because I was in there and you see this. And I said, why so much importance? Why is our tax money going into these massive buildings like this? And you enter different courtrooms and you see them, how neat and how very, very transparent, I would say, crystal. And you wonder, why is so much importance put on the physical building itself? And as I went to a line, and I was waiting in the line, and I saw this little sign, and it said, please honor our men and women, our soldiers. And if you see one with a uniform, please let them be the first to be served. I said, Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Because where I come from, if you have a uniform, you step on everybody else, whether they like it or not, to get what you want, and the one who serves you better be nice to you because you can even smack them on the face. And I said, look how this here, in this sense of justice, we are changing it, and we are first informing the normal citizens that there is a group that deserve to be served first because they put their lives in the line of fire to save the land, to save the country. I don't know if you see what I mean by that. If you understand this, the thinking level that we have here. We have a thinking level on one side that is almost tribal, barbaric. Because I have stars on my shoulders, I can crush you down and do what I please and get what I want by force if I have to. And you have another one, if I have stars on my shoulders, you are to be kind to me and you let me pass. And it hits what? It hits what we call civility, a civilization. The name of civilization did not come just out of the blue, al-hadara in Arabic. And civilization, when we look at it, it cannot be built on barbarism or laws that are for individuals to use as they wish. And very quickly I went back to the history of Islam and how Baghdad became a great city of civilization, and how Al-Andalus, Al-Hamra, wa Cordoba, and you name the cities, became great, great cities of civilization, because there were rules in there. There were rules in there. And we see قول الله عز وجل in Surah Al-Ma'idah, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين لله شهداء بالقسط ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على أن لا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. O you who believe, Allah says, O you who believe, be persistently standing for Allah. So if we say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, therefore we have to do what? We have to, that means we're standing, we're representing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As He said it. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي what? إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. When you as a father or as a mother, you tell your son or daughter, I'll leave you behind me in charge of the house, or the farm, or the company, or they are representing you, and Allah wants us to represent Him on earth. How do we represent Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? By doing injustice? La wallahi. Hasha lillah. By doing justice. Justice even if it's against our own self or our own families. لا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على أن لا تعدلوا. Be persistently, He said, subhanahu wa ta'ala, standing firm for Allah, witnesses for justice. Witnesses for justice. Okay? And He continues, and do not let the hatred of any particular group of people prevent you from doing justice. Do justice that is nearer to piety, to taqwa. Now look at this verse and look at the picture I gave you at the beginning about this huge, massive building that are called, whatever it is, the Department of State, the courthouse, the tribunal, this huge, massive. It is a true representation of the meaning of it in a civilized world. In the country, if you want to get something done for you, you have to be able to return it. And people will ask you, where do you work? So that they know they can get back the favor that they do to you. And I believe it's from, name the country, from the one that is by the Atlantic, all the one that's in the Indian Ocean, in the Muslim world. And I'm not going to name somebody else's country. But I believe it's the same. And this way we see that there is no civilization. Okay? There is no civilization that has been able to come back out of it. Why is it? Because we are not only, we don't follow the laws, but we find other ways to go around. Why? Why is that? Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu, when he was the governor of Egypt, and we're talking about already the Prophet ﷺ had passed away, and Abu Bakr as-Siddiq had passed away, and said, this is the time of Umar ibn Khattab, 10 years plus in the reign of, and making the Islamic empire, literally, because it started with him. It was a turning point when Umar ibn Khattab took charge. He's the one who said, if a mule were to stumble in Iraq, I am afraid I will be questioned about why you didn't pave the way for it. What kind of justice and the sense of justice it is. Suffice it is that contemporary historians of our time, they mention Umar ibn Khattab as one of the greatest leaders that history has seen. Read the book, The 100 Most Influential Men in the History of Humanity. He's somewhere there. Now in his time, Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu, he's in charge of Egypt. And they needed to build a road, and that road had to go through a house, the house that belonged to an old lady. An old lady, and she refused to have her house being destroyed. and they pushed her. And she sent a message to Umar ibn Khattab, and he returned it, and he said, Faris, is Persia better than us? And they follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and we don't? Recalling to Amr ibn al-As the very history of another old lady that happened in Persia, and they did not destroy her house. And they made sure that the road will go away enough from the house. He said, are they better in following the sunnah? We should be the ones. We are more deserving of doing that. Sense of justice. And that's why a civilization came. The Islamic civilization, when we are proud of it. But remember one thing, brothers and sisters, please remember that, because Allah says it twice. Okay? تِلْكَ أُمَّةٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ in two different contexts. تِلْكَ أُمَّةٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ وَلَكُمْ مَا كَسَبْتُمْ وَلَا تُسْأَلُونَ عَمَّا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. That is a nation before you that already passed away. They have their own deeds, and you have your own deeds, and you will not be questioned about what they did. So let us not brag that we, the Muslims, did this. No. In our time, it's different. The Muslims, our predecessors, our ancestors did, yes. And we have to catch up with that. Especially in the sense of justice. And when we focus on justice, everything starts to be put in place. I promise you that. I promise you that. Once there is justice on earth, and it is applied on the pauper and miskin, the poor person, and it is applied on the ruler himself. The ruler being the president of the most powerful nation. You took a red light, you got a ticket. Yes, because you put me in charge as a police officer to make sure that the traffic is going clear. This is civilization. I had a Muslim friend, I would say friend, who goes, why should I pay the credit card back? This is all into interest, and why not? They are all kuffar. Imagine the level of thinking and the standard, how it drops. The moment you choose to use a credit card or a debit card, that means you have to return back whatever you use. That's what they call thievery. That means he steals. This is stealing. This is where we are at. Unfortunately, even in this land, we are seeing some of the behavior of our Muslim brothers. Unfortunately, you have a sign that says 5 miles per hour in a parking in one of the largest Islamic centers here in North Texas. It says 5 miles per hour. The brother was driving at close to 30 miles per hour. And when we stopped him with this insanity, he goes, well, I'm in a rush, I have to go. At the expense of what? Hitting one of our kids? Or our sisters? Or our mothers? Or our... What is this? It tells us that there is a disconnection between being civilized and acting civilized. It's sad. It's very, very sad. There's no understanding of that. And that's why we are in this situation. That's why we are in this situation. It's so sad. Do we think of that? Do we think of our actions? I love the statement by Dr. Stephen Covey. He said, when a situation happens in your life, and it's fast, and the reaction time between what happens and your reaction is fractions of a second, that's when you know basically what the meaning is, whether the person has reached that level of civility. Now I'll give you an example, because I know some of you are puzzled by that. You are driving and you are on the lane and you are going the normal speed, everything is fine, and somebody cuts you off. Right there, the accident is a flash, literally, a flight, just like that. But you avoid it at that fraction of a second. How do you react? And I promise you, a civilized, a person who masters himself or herself should say just, Hasbi Allah. Alhamdulillah, nothing happened. And starts immediately giving reasons of why that person did. Maybe he's in a rush. Maybe an accident happened in his family. Maybe he lost someone, maybe. The opposite reaction, Wallahi, I'm going to show him what I'm going to do to him. And then you have a race, and there are lives at stake. Yes, we have seen this. We have seen this. I'm going to do to him what he did to me. That's not right. That's not thinking at the level of high standards. The Prophet ﷺ, when he was asked, ﷺ, he said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I have come to complete what? To perfect character. Character in its ultimate sense. If we represent Allah on earth, Khalifatullah fil ard, if we represent Him, then we should act at that level. Are we? And that's why we become so vulnerable in our countries. We become so weak to any type of ills, any type of penetration, any type, anything, because people don't have the right standards. Please read some articles on how some countrymen of their own land, they destroyed their own land and they gave their land to the enemy, like this. For what? For money? For saying, I took the position of leader? No. Why? Because apparently it is very clear that they don't have that sense of loving the land, of abiding by the laws of the land, of being a civilized person, of learning, of putting institutions of knowledge and institutions of justice. And justice should be applied on everybody. One of the best stories that I heard, and it made me cry, it was about Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. In his time again, and subhanAllah, so many stories came in his time, as there was a line of men and young men waiting to enter to basically his office, asking for him to help them. And he had called a man by the name of Fayruz ad-Daylimi. Okay, Fayruz ad-Daylimi. The story of Fayruz ad-Daylimi, please type it and read it. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned his name without knowing him and without ever seeing him. And it happened in the years of when Musaylim al-Kadhab, Musaylim the liar, came up saying that I am also a prophet. There was yet another one by Al-Aswad al-Ansi. And he was from Yemen, and he did the same thing, and he was very powerful. And the Prophet ﷺ was very sick. It was his last days. And he said he should be killed because he's causing a big fitna. So when the message reached, few men gathered, and Fayruz ad-Daylimi, who was originally from Persia, who was a strong believer, he's the one who eventually killed the man. When the message came to Al-Madinah, the Prophet ﷺ had died already. And then they told the messenger, we already know, because before he died, the Prophet ﷺ, alhamdulillah, a righteous man, has given justice to Islam. Now the story does not stop there. As they are lining up in front of the office of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, there was a young man, one of those first ones. And Fayruz ad-Daylimi was asked by Umar ibn Khattab to go to him. He told him, I heard that you are having a good life. I want you to come. We have some talk to do. And he responded, because he was a righteous leader on his own. And when he came, as he sees the line, he just went through, and the young man stopped him, telling him, I was here first. He hit him. Fayruz ad-Daylimi hits the young man and says, who are you? I have been called by Umar ibn Khattab, Amir al-Mu'mineen. You are here just waiting. He didn't call you. Basically, I have a permit, I have a permission to just go through anybody to get to him. And he complained, the young man. He was from Quraysh. He was young, very young. By our standard, a teenager. He said, he hit me. He said, did you? He said, yes. He said, then you have to take, what? Retribution. And that's what Islam is. And here we have a leader, an Amir on his own, and he has his own army, by the way. He has his own soldiers with him. He said, he's going to do this to me? He said, yes. That's what our religion is. The sense of justice. The Islamic civilization did not build just like that, because there was justice. And so he put himself on his knees, because the young man wanted to return the slap. And he was ready. And in fact, he lifted his sleeve up and he was ready to hit, and then Umar ibn Khattab asked him. He said, please, listen to what I say and then you do what you want. He said, do you know who this man is? He said, no, and I don't care. He hit me, I returned it. He said, this man, the Prophet ﷺ said the following about him, and he told him the story. And the young man dropped his hand, he said, I forgive him. This is Islam. This is Islam. If we want another Islamic civilization to rise, it has to rise on justice. It has to rise on justice. And Umar ibn Khattab was shocked. But let's look at this. And Allah says it, وَلَا تَنْسُوا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ. And he says, although this verse did not come in a context like this one, but he did not forget this fadl of being humiliated, basically by being hit. He said, the fact that you did not take retribution, your revenge, I'm going to give you my sword and my horse, and you have 30,000 dirham from me. He made him rich on the spot. What a religion, Allahu Akbar. What a sense of justice, Allahu Akbar. This is what we should raise our children to do, to learn. We want them one day to build a civilization. They have to build it on this high ethos, akhlaq, high level, very high level. And let not any one of us drop the level of ethics and morals, okay, down to the level of those who are treating them in a bad way, just to have revenge, or we should not. We should control ourselves. And the verse that I mentioned is critical to that. لا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على أن لا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. And what amazes me about this verse is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said اعدلوا هو. He used huwa as if it's a being, a living being, as if justice is a being, a living being. He didn't say ذلك أقرب للتقوى. That is, no, he didn't say that. He said, he using the word huwa, which means he, as if justice itself has a pronoun. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, lillahi alhamd. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره اللهم اغفر لنا إنك أنت الغفور الرحيم محمد أرحم الراحمين. I will conclude about civilization. Civilizations, when they are built, again, on the sense of justice, you will see that naturally people start to feel what? Feel safe. We feel safe. When there is justice, we feel safe. Homes no longer, almost, literally, need locks because there is justice. But when there is no justice, we are afraid. Very much afraid. And once the minds and the souls are freed from fear, that's when they start to flourish. And we see that. Abdurrahman al-Dakhil, Saqr Quraysh, the one who founded a civilization in Al-Andalus in Spain, that's exactly what he did. After establishing justice, it was universities. It was public bath. It was gardens, parks. Amazing. And it came, and people were flocking from all over Europe to just witness that. Aren't we different? I mean, are we different than them? No, why? Why did we come here? For the immigrants like you and me, to get knowledge. Because we knew there was a civilization here. Yes. And we came for that, to get the knowledge, to become better, to have a better life, to be able to think freely. That's yet another topic. But we knew also that there was a sense of justice here. And there is still a sense of justice. Don't look at the foreign policy. I don't talk about that. But in here, there is still a sense of justice. Okay? For the United States to allow any religious group to buy the land and to build a place of worship and to have their own parks and their own schools, there is justice here. We have to admit that. And we say, Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, let us be a positive force, as I said it in my last khutbah in a different masjid. Regardless of who is in the White House, who is in the Oval Office, it doesn't matter to us, because we are the Muslims. We are the Muslims, and when we stand for what we believe in, people will embrace us. Doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter. Even the Jewish people, with whom there is a big problem in Palestine, but here, many of them, and you can sit with them and you will see how they trust the Muslims. Yes, and the Christians, and the Buddhists, and name it, because they know that if we abide, when we abide by our own laws, our own book, we are at our best. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى